This segment sponsored by Foster Financial. Welcome to Wealth Wednesday with Foster Financial. We are continuing to break down some misconceptions people may have regarding their finances, retirement, and so much more. And here to share information about it is Caleb Doane, the Vice President of Foster Financial. Hey there, Caleb.
Hey.
Hey. Okay, so I love talking about misconceptions because I think it's very easy to have them because sometimes financial planning, retirement, and all of the big words get confusing. So today we're going to talk about misconceptions in finance, and what topic in particular will we hit on?
Yeah, so the misconception I wanted to talk about today is for the kind of higher income folks. Okay. And so the misconception is because I have a high income, I'm on track for retirement. And that's certainly not always the case. Yeah. Having a high income can be a really good tool to use for retirement planning, but it doesn't always follow that somebody's on track for retirement. And so you could have two people, who are 60 years old, let's say, and they're planning on retiring in 5 years. One of them has, makes $100,000 a year and has $500,000 saved for retirement. The other one makes $300,000 a year and has $750,000 saved for retirement. It's very possible the person with the lower income and the slightly lower amount saved for retirement is actually in a better situation than the person with higher income because the person with lower income has less money that they need to replace in retirement to maintain their same standard of living. And so it kind of follows, if you have a high income, you're making $300,000 a year, maybe you're saving a decent amount of it, but you're taking home, $200,000 and you're living off of that. You don't want to have to change your lifestyle too much in retirement. You still want to be able to go out to eat the same amount, travel the same amount, at least most people do. And so you need to have more saved for retirement. And so the kind of onus is bigger, you need to have more saved for retirement in order to be able to maintain that same standard of living. Yeah,
and that's deep because I know we've talked about retirement planning in the past and kind of thinking about at what point should we start considering it to kind of make sure that we're on track, because essentially the money's going to run out if you don't plan it best. And we talked about also downsizing and different tools that people can use. And so when it comes to you talking to your different clients, how do you really assess if they are on the right track, and what type of advice do you give to help kind of get them? I mean, you say a 5-year countdown. Can they catch up in that amount of time? Is that even possible?
Yeah, well, I mean, if somebody does have a high income, it's nice that they have more free cash flow to be able to contribute.
Oh no, $200,000 to take home.
right, of course. But who knows? It's like maybe their income skyrocketed within the last few years, and they hadn't done a lot for retirement savings prior to that, and now they really need to do a lot of catch up on that. And every single person is completely different. And so that's why a lot of those higher earners, maybe they're talking to their friends who don't have as high of an income, and they're thinking, hey, I think I'm doing a pretty good job saving for retirement, but maybe their standard of living is so much higher that they need a lot more saved for retirement. And that's why we do a custom financial plan for everyone, because we have folks who are perfectly happy living off of $50,000 a year, and there's people who need $200,000 a year in retirement to live comfortably and maintain their same lifestyle. And so that's why we have everyone fill out a budget when they come into us to do a financial plan, and we can really back into the actual number that you need to have saved before you retire to be able to live comfortably and kind of understand that there's going to be fluctuations over retirement, but you still want to be able to have that same retirement income every single month that you're in retirement. So we want to make sure that people have that confidence.
And I'm thinking about, is it one of those situations where it's crunch time when you're talking to them, because it's like you probably have to devise some very interesting strategies to say, like, maybe if they're retiring in 5 years and they have this much lump sum, what can you invest, or what type of turnaround, make your money work for you type of thing. And I think that that's why a financial planner is so important, because I don't think as an individual, we're just naturally equipped to see all the avenues to help us navigate retirement. And so you see all scenarios all the time, right?
Right, and there's so many inputs that go into it too. It's, how much is Social Security going to cover? What's the assumption we can have on the growth rate of your investment accounts now and later in retirement? How long are you going to live? How much money do you need every year? There's so many inputs, and so it's really hard for people to know truly how much money they need in retirement. They can try to use certain rules of thumb, but oftentimes those are insufficient to actually tell you the amount you need to save. And so we can take a look at somebody and say, look, you're living off of $200,000 a year right now, but based on the amount you're going to have saved for retirement, you're only going to be able to live off of 75 grand a year in retirement. And that's a really big cost of living change. And so we like to even that out and say, look, we need to lower cost of living right now to $150,000 a year, save that extra 50 grand for the next 5 years, and then you'll be able to live off of 125 every year in retirement. And that makes that transition a lot easier as opposed to going from this big amount to this small amount. It's a lot smoother, and it's a lot easier for people to handle that.
Yeah, and with you all offering free consultations, you essentially can start that conversation, let people know what they need to do to actually like bring in, and then to kind of look at it further as you try to help just create their financial plan for them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we do the complimentary consultation. So if you're, a high earner and you're saying, I'm really not sure if I'm on track or not, I'm planning on retiring in the next 5 or 10 years, whatever it might be, we're definitely happy to take a look and let you know if you are on track.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you, Caleb.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you would like more information about Foster Financial, we'll have their website and their phone number listed below. Call them for a complimentary consultation, and I'll see you after the break. This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.